Welcome back to another episode of Iron Tans Engineering, and today we're going to be working a bit more on this. So on the last videos you saw, we got the rear end back down as much as we wanted it to, and it sat nicely on the SSRs. But unfortunately, the show that I had it booked into, what I was actually getting ready for, has been cancelled. So, while that's unfortunate, we've still got a bit more time to do a couple more bits to it to make it exactly how I want. And the problem that I had with these wheels is they're not very wide. They stick out enough, but that's because I'm on 20mm spaces because of the adapters. I wanted something wider and dishier, so I thought, now I've got the time, why don't we try some banded steels? So we have got these are the original Honda wheels that came on the truck. They've still got the center caps and everything. They are 10x4, I think, and I asked a popular Japanese Instagram lad about his wheels that he had on his Mitsubishi, and he said his were 10x9s, and it got me thinking, why can't we do something like that? We are now going to take these to work. We're going to stick them in the lathe, make a fixture first, stick them in the lathe and part the barrels off. We've got some pipe knocking around in the yard, which I think I'm actually going to turn down to make the new barrels for. I'm going to go for 10x8s or 10x9s. I think I'm going to go with 10x8s to be fair, just so they're not ludicrous and well, they're still going to be fairly ludicrous, but they're going to look smart. So let's get them to work and get them all parted off. Right, so we are now at work, and we have got one of the wheels in a lathe. So this is how I'm holding it at the minute. Holding it on the hard jaws with a bung and the centre, revolving centre in there. Got the part and blade all set up, and wheel runs nice and true. So what we're now going to do is wind the blade in, and start parting it off about here. Now this will leave me a bit on here so I can bore the pipe out I'm going to use, so it sits on there, and the whole thing is still all true and concentric. So right, let's get on with that. So that's one of them done already. So the lip came off nice, and that's what we're left with. So they've all been parted off in the returner back now, so now we've got to go and find the material what's actually going to go in the middle to make them wider by about 4 inches. So this is a pipe that my boss has very generously donated to the cause. He knows I like making mad shit, so shout out Darren, cheers for that. He's donated me this. It's been here probably about 20-30 years, something like that. So we're going to have to get this over to the saw shop, get it cut down to the sizes that I want, and then we're going to have to bore it out and turn down the little bits and that so they fit on the rim. So let's get that over there now. 4 of them cut. So now they're all cut, we stick them in the lathe and turn them to the sizes they're needed. Right, so the next stage is just to start prepping them, getting them ready for when I turn up the barrels to go on them. So we've got to take a grinder now and just tart up this here, get rid of this rust and that, and put a bit of a bevel on the end of this so the weld penetrates all the way through. And the same with the dish, really. We just got to tart that up around there. Don't take anything off of here because it obviously needs to be flat. So just tart the edge up and take the paint off so it's ready for welding. So let's do that. Right, so we've gone over with the paint remover disc. We've taken the rust off there and we've given it a bevel with the flabby disc all the way around, and the same with the lip. So we've given that a bit of a bevel and we've taken the paint off where it's going to be. Alright, so we've cleaned the wheels and the rims up, all ready to go. And now this is the piece of pipe that I've been gifted, or one of the bits of pipe I've been gifted. So we now need to face this end and then bore it down. So the wall thickness is about 3mm, which we've got the sizes for what we need. 214.5mm or 8.44 inches in Old English. So let's get on with that. And just like that, that butts up perfectly. Ow! Just got a lovely splinter in my hand there. Ow, there we go. But yeah, butts up lovely. So now we've got to part it off and see what it looks like. Alright, so we got one all parted off and sorted out, and GoPro's deciding that battery's about to die, so let's see if we can get this shot. But this is what one's going to look like. That's going to look quality, that. Look at that. 10 by 8s. Fantastic. Let's do all the others. Right, so we managed to get all 4 of them turned up yesterday. So now we're going to tack them. So this is the first one, all weighed down at the top. So we're going to give it like 4 tacks in this one here. And then this will sit on top of the rim, and we're going to have to just get that in line. So what we'll do is we'll get all that done, and then we will stick it in a lathe and see if it's actually concentric and actually a good wheel. If not, it'll be wobbling all over the fucking shop. But yeah, let's get that tagged. Right, so that's the first bit tack welded together. But now what we've got to do is the tricky part. So we've got to put this on here. Now luckily what I've done is the actual size of the barrel is the same size as the inside of the lip. So what we've got to do is I've got to basically feel with my finger, and any little lip that might be sticking out, you pull it back in just a tiny little bit, and you've got to basically work your way around there and make sure that everything is completely in line, because it should theoretically be exactly the same size and be in exactly the same place. So I've just got to get that bang on, and then we can tack weld that in place. And then just to make sure, we'll take it to the lathe, we'll stick it in the lathe, and we'll run it up just to see if it's wobbling up and down. Alright, so one's all tacked up, and now we'll put it in the lathe, so let's see what we've got. So back to the same fixture and that, how we parted them off. I even marked out where the jaws are going, so let's see. Oh, I'm pretty happy with that. Yep, I'm pretty damn happy with that. So let's get the other three tacked up. So a little while later, and this is what we're left with. So we've got all four wheels now tacked and all done in the chuck to make sure they're running true. Fantastic. So now we've got to weld them up. So I'm going to be using the stick welder to weld them up. I use the TIG welder to tack them up, but I'll use the stick welder to actually weld them up. So let's get in the welding bay and get them sorted. Right, so we've now got the wheels all tacked up and running true in the lathe as well. So now it's time to weld them up. So for this we're going to be using the old-fashioned stick welder. I have set this wheel up on a rolling jig, which I made to put my split rims together and get like a nice bead of sealant all the way around them. So it's going to work quite well to doing this. So we've just got to basically weld all the way around here and all the way around here. But what we're going to do is we're going to do it in sections. So we're going to do it like a quarter here, spin it around 180, do this quarter, and then this quarter, and then this quarter. So we try not to warp the wheel too much, and then we'll go on to doing this one around here. Hopefully with this one it penetrates all the way through. That's what I'm hoping for, and then I can just clean up the inside. But if not, then we will obviously run a bead of weld around the inside as well, and then clean it all up. So let's get on with that, shall we? This is what we're left with after welding. So we've done a bead here and a bead here all the way around the wheel. Done it in the quarters like we said. So that's that all done, and then we had to send a bead just around the inside here because it left a gap. It left the lip, the edge when I parted it off. Some places have said to me that sometimes they leave that and then you just paint it, and because it's obviously sealed from this side it doesn't matter, but I didn't like that idea, if I'm honest with you. So I've welded it around here and I'll tar it all up with a grinder and blend it all in so you can't see it and that. So yeah, that's all done there. So now we just got to take it in the grinder bay and get all this ground out, and then that's this wheel done. That's one wheel pretty much done. So we got all that in there ground off. It's a bit of a challenge being as these are only 10 inch, so I had to take the hand off the bloody grinder. But yeah, so we got all the actual weld off there and smoothed it all in. Looks awesome. Yep, and it's all
nicely welded all the way around. So that one is now ready for blasting and painting. So let's get the other 4 done.
Right, so all 4 wheels are now completely welded up, and now we've got to address this.
So this is obviously the factory paint on this wheel, and as you can see here where it's burnt the lip, that's burnt all the paint off. So instead of sending it over blasting, what we're going to do is we're going to use the oxy torch. We're going to burn the paint off of this wheel. We're going to basically burn it back down to bare metal, the same around here, so that when I put it in the lathe and actually tidy up all of this and the barrel itself, I can just lightly sand the whole thing while it's rotating and get everything down to bare metal. We've already done this one, and it's bloody hot still. But as you can see, it's like made all the paint around it into a crisp. So basically when any kind of like wire brush or anything's applied to it there, as you can see here, it just comes straight off. So makes it a lot easier to remove a paint. So we'll do it to this one now, we'll do it to the other 2, and then we'll stick them in the lathe. Alright, so we've got that hot, don't want to get it too close, but this is how easy the paint comes off after a little bit of that. Look, you don't get it red hot because that will just warp the wheel. It is steel, so you can get away with this. I wouldn't want to do it on alley, but yeah, paint just comes off nice and easy, just like that. And it'll come off so much easier when it's in the lathe. So I can just have that rotating while I polish it out with a wire brush. So let's do the other 2. Right, so now all the paint has been burnt off all of them, right? So now we've got them back in the lathe, and we're gonna tickle them up with a flappy disc, and then we're gonna tickle them up with the coil disc, and then we've got some 240 grit paper just to rough them up and all that, ready for painting. So this is how true they're running after welding, which I'm pretty impressed about. So yeah, this is after welding. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. So what we've got now is obviously the grinder with a flappy on it, and we're just going to go inside and clean it up like this, just so it's on the round. And then we're going to remove the rest of this with the wire wheels, and the same with there, and then just sandpaper it. So we've got a dusty job ahead of us, so let's crack on with it. And that's so good. I got the first one to polish up basically. So we're down to bare metal here, bare metal there. Can't see the stitching here. Blended that all in so it's all nice rolled edge. And then most of the face is now all completely stripped. I've just got to get these little bits here where obviously like you're sanding off a bit on the rotation, but we'll just get in there anyway and get rid of them. But yeah, that's all come up quite nice. So that's all bare metal, basically ready for whatever colour I decide to do, which I'm still not 100% sure on yet. So let's get the other 3 in there and get that sorted. It's got to be a fun lunch break. And that is all 4 of them wheels done. Done as in made, welded and stripped of paint, ready for the next stage. So next stage, you say, what we've got to do is we've got to test them on the truck for one to see how much poke I've got, because if I need to order archers, which I know I do, I need to order them in good time because they're guaranteed they're not in the UK. So we're going to have to order some from elsewhere.
We also need to decide on the colour for these, which is going to be a bit odd because basically I'm planning on changing the colour of the truck at some point, so I need to pick a colour which will match the current colour of the truck and the new colour of the truck. So that's all going to be in the next video. But yeah, anyway guys, this has been a bit of a long one, but I wanted to make them, so I made them. So cheers for watching guys, don't forget to like and subscribe and all that, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode of Iron Talons Engineering as much as I enjoyed actually making them. So see you again guys.